When Jonathan Hayes founded Hayes Corporate Solutions, he promised himself one thing: no matter how big the company grew, no employee would ever feel invisible. 15 years later, the company had over 600 employees and contracts across 3 states. But lately, HR reports were troubling. High turnover, complaints about hostile management, exit interviews mentioning one name repeatedly: Brandon Keller, regional manager. Jonathan didn't confront him. He didn't send a warning email. He picked up a mop. At 6 a.m., before executives arrived, a quiet janitor in gray coveralls pushed a cleaning cart into the building. Head down, cap low. Name tag read, Mike. No one recognized the CEO. Perfect. Jonathan moved slowly through the lobby, wiping glass doors and emptying trash bins. Employees walked past him like he didn't exist. Some didn't even say good morning. But one voice cut through the silence. Hey, you missed a spot. Jonathan turned. Brandon Keller, tall, expensive suit, coffee in hand. He didn't look at Jonathan's face. He pointed at the floor. That streak. Do it again. Yes, sir, Jonathan replied calmly. Brandon scoffed. Unbelievable. It's not that hard. Strike one. Throughout the morning, Jonathan watched. Brandon didn't greet staff. He barked orders, publicly corrected employees, rolled his eyes during presentations. At 9:15 a.m., a young receptionist accidentally transferred a call incorrectly. Brandon exploded. Do you even know what you're doing? He snapped loudly in front of clients. The receptionist's eyes watered. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix incompetence. Brandon cut in. Jonathan stood 10 feet away, pretending to wipe a table. He felt anger rising, but he stayed silent, because this wasn't about one rude comment. This was culture, and culture starts with leadership. Around noon, Jonathan was cleaning the executive hallway. Brandon stormed out of his office. You, cleaner. Jonathan looked up. Yes, bathroom on the 3rd floor is a mess. What exactly are we paying you for? Jonathan nodded politely. I'll take care of it. Brandon stepped closer. You people need constant supervision. It's exhausting. You people. Jonathan paused. Sir? He asked evenly. Brandon waved a dismissive hand. Just do your job. Employees nearby avoided eye contact. No one spoke up. Not because they agreed, because they were afraid. Later that afternoon, Jonathan overheard something worse. Brandon was speaking to 2 department heads behind closed doors. Corporate doesn't care how we run things, Brandon said confidently. As long as numbers look good, no one checks. Jonathan's jaw tightened. He had built the company on respect. Brandon had built his department on fear, and fear was delivering results, which made it more dangerous. At 4:45 p.m., Jonathan requested all staff gather in the main conference room. Brandon rolled his eyes. Why are we wasting time on this? Jonathan walked in last, still in janitor uniform, mop in hand. Brandon crossed his arms. What is this about? Jonathan calmly removed his cap, then the gray cleaning gloves, then the name tag. Silence filled the room. My name, he said firmly, is Jonathan Hayes. Gasps echoed. The receptionist covered her mouth. Brandon laughed nervously. Good one. Very funny. Jonathan reached into his pocket and placed his executive access badge on the conference table. The room froze. Color drained from Brandon's face. That's not possible. Jonathan's voice remained steady. For the past 2 days, I've cleaned this building. I've watched how you speak to people. I've listened to how you justify it. He stepped closer. You treat support staff like they're beneath you. You humiliate employees publicly. And you assume corporate doesn't check. Brandon tried to recover. I push for excellence. Jonathan shook his head. Excellence without dignity is failure. Silence. Heavy. Unavoidable. Effective immediately, Jonathan said calmly. Brandon Keller is relieved of his position pending full investigation. Shock rippled across the room. Brandon's confidence collapsed. You can't do this over a misunderstanding. Jonathan looked him in the eye. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was character. Security escorted Brandon out. The tension in the room shifted instantly. People breathed differently, stood straighter. Jonathan turned to the staff. If anyone in this company ever feels small, ignored, or disrespected, that is a leadership failure. He paused. And that includes how we treat the people who clean our floors. He walked over to the receptionist Brandon had humiliated. You handled that call well, he said gently. Mistakes happen. Growth matters more. Tears filled her eyes, but this time from relief. Within weeks, leadership training was mandatory. Anonymous reporting systems were updated. Employee satisfaction rose. Turnover dropped. And something subtle changed in the building. People started saying good morning to the janitorial staff, holding doors open, smiling, because they didn't know who might be watching. And more importantly, they didn't know who deserved respect. Jonathan didn't go undercover to catch someone. He went undercover